Today's the big day. We're going to load the Terminator up on a flatbed tow truck and haul it over to Austin Speed Shop for some of their special magic. Let's see if this puppy will move. At first, I couldn't remember where neutral was in the transmission. And this old caddy is really weird. It's actually the first detent. So when you pull down, the very first gear position is neutral. It's actually rolling pretty good. I was expecting flat spots, but I don't feel any. One of my concerns was the low clearance of the car. In the center, it only has about 6 inches of clearance. You can't really tell from the video, but it was really hard to turn the wheel. These 50 series tires without power steering just did not want to turn. Well, we got it on the bed. Let's see if the truck can pull it up. Well, that was easy. This whole ordeal reminds me of when I first discovered the Terminator. It was literally sitting out in a pasture in the outskirts of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, and it had sunk all the way down into the dirt, so the car was actually just resting on the dirt. I guess you could say it was kind of like that movie Christine. It was calling to me. So I turned around and I went and I talked to the farmer, and I ended up buying it from him for $850. That's something you don't see every day. Well, we finally made it. Here we are, Austin Speed Shop. Let's go inside and meet with the manager.
Can you believe it?
This place is so cool. it up probably about 8 years ago, and a lot of the fluids, like from the water pump stuff, started running out. But after it ran for a few minutes, it stopped leaking, like the gaskets kind of expanded. I mean, it runs good, but you gotta remember, I did a lot of this when I was a starving student. A lot of it was done in my backyard. I didn't have the financial means to do it the way I wanted, but I pretty much, if it touches fluids, like I want to do fuel tank, radiator, water pump, we can go through all of this if you like, but
Yeah, so no, I still have your let's go to work.
okay. This got me in the car stereo. And so, I mean, it's been since 85. I mean, that's a long time. It opened my door. I mean, got me in the industry and helped me to do all kinds of stuff. So you know what, like the audio stuff, I'm going to try to I was trying to retain all of that purity of the old equipment. So I'll be messing with that. But the drivetrain stuff, that's something that
The tires didn't go flat, or
no, they never went flat. In fact, these tires are from like 1987. But I'm replacing the tires with wheels. I need tires that can hold like 80 psi. These are like 32 psi tires. And so, even when they just always look a little flat. So I don't know much about tires, but similar looking wheels. I don't know if you can use those high PSI on these type of wheels, and I'm also looking for your guys' suggestions, brainstorming. Think of when you're a kid, did you ever build model cars?
Oh yeah.
Okay, at the end, if you had leftover parts, I'd always put them in a box, and then every once in a while, me and my friends would build junk models. The monster things, where you just, so that's what, if you guys go, man, if I could, it would be so bitching, if you do this, you bitching, if you did that, I am open to that type of thing. So, I'm not doing this for a car show, I'm not doing this to sell it in an auction. This is the kind of like,
Wayne, you're gonna have to help them.
So right now, normally these doors are open with remote control.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I have it set up so you can pull it two ways. Either pull it up here or pull it up here. So you just pull it up and then pull it out.
Okay.
It does not have. Without power steering, these 50s are really hard to turn. So. It's like a time capsule. I think there's like Madonna still in the VCR. This car has stuff in 1985 that took another 25 years to show up in regular cars. So it's got an Apple II computer. It has a VHS video player. Has a rear view camera. Check navigator. What do you need to do? Oh God, it's getting okay. Doesn't have a regular steering wheel.
Right.
And the transmission's in weird. So I think the first one down is neutral. Oh, Cadillac.
Yeah, it's Cadillac.
Yeah. Okay.
Reverse is all the way to the end.
Yeah. It does have parking brakes. If you want to go ahead and get in there, you can do that. When you steer it, you have to use the corners. That's a control wheel out of a Beach King airplane.
Wayne, I think this is the first time that anyone has ever sat in there besides you.
Yeah, I think
Literally.
Right.
Seriously, nobody's
exalted.
nobody's ever sat in there besides Wayne. That I'm aware of, at least drove it.
time, there was a high performance around here. You couldn't even buy like 8-inch woofers. So, neutral drive, reverse. Park, neutral drive. It should be all the way to reverse. It should be neutral. Parking brakes on the left. It's like a pedal. You just have to push it in and pop it out. Like the parking brake doesn't release the pedal. Normally just push it in and it'll pop right out. You think it might be under tension because it's a little bit. I don't know if I put it on the list too. I'm going to redo that list, but when I had the car painted a long time ago, when I picked it up, the guy gave me a bucket, coffee bucket, spare bolts and washers. But the rear bumper is not on properly. It's like there's a gap and it's not. Number one. after I put the latch mechanism, it's got an electronic solenoid inside, but I just push it and then it'll. Seems like the harder you do it, the less it wants to stay latched.
Is this still an LCD, this thing?
This actually is not an LCD. This is way before those. There's actually 100 light bulbs here, incandescent bulbs, and then there's a big box that has filters and transistors that drive each of those. They're not even LEDs before that. It's turns those
It's a rear view camera. There's no mirrors in here.
So the one side of it is always this urge to
1985.
modernize whatever technology. Because
I don't think it existed.
This thing's like, there's this big guy.
That's it.
There's 5 or something. I can replace all that.
Shaved?
But the other side is, what makes it cool is the old antique. I mean, look at this rear view camera. It's like you just recording that. I mean, this is the technology that it took in order to do that. And I don't know what this, I must have had a piece of cardboard or something. I don't know why this tape is here. But anyway, when this thing has some electrical power, then I can open the door. And in fact, when I go look, it'll be a little bit before you get ready to fire it up or turn it on or anything, right? You don't need power for a little bit.
I'm going to try and get it running as soon as I can.
Okay, so I'm going to go back and I'm going to try to, here's the way it works. And I'll write you some instructions. I need to find the code, but if you go ahead and sit in there. Okay, if you look straight up and you see that keypad,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look and find out, but let's say the code is 1234. As soon as you type 1234, that applies power, electrical power to some of the panels. And there's a button over here that's backlit that says ignition, IGN or ignition. That's like the ignition on your car. So you have to turn on ignition, and then there's another button that says start, and that's your starter, like if you turn it to, so when you push and hold the start button until the engine turns over, okay? But don't forget to turn off the ignition when you get out, and don't forget to turn off, you press 1, 2, 3, 4 again to turn off power. Right. Don't push any of the other buttons, because I don't know those amps and stuff. I'm going to disconnect them, because I'm going to take them out and recap them.
Sure. Okay, no problem.
And I'm at your disposal, so I work from home. Any questions you have? In fact, I'm going to give you several numbers. We can stop and be here at a moment's notice.
Sure. Shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah. You know how good that sounds to me? Because usually I'm underwhelmed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I get you.
And that's why I am.
Oh, I see. This is not finished.
No, and you know, I can't tell you how much that bugs me.
No problem.
And you know, when somebody gives you give them your car and they give you a bucket of bolts back saying these are spare parts, I mean, let's be real. They're not spare.
Yeah.
Oh, and the fuel filler? Since you're gonna try to get this started early, I'm gonna have to get back over here. We gotta put a battery on it so we can. So when you kick this, there's a button. When you kick the button, this pops open. In fact, it helps to have somebody standing back here so that when you're holding the solenoid, you pull this door open.
Sure.
And it's like a boat fill on the inside because I want it totally shaved. So. But I want a new fuel tank. Everything, new fuel lines, new fuel hoses, new fuel pump. This one actually came with a mechanical fuel pump that worked great, and for whatever reason I put an electrical one in that doesn't work any good. So you want to put in a mechanical fuel pump. It's just that it's 20 feet long, and so if you're parked on a grade, sometimes it takes a while to pull the fuel up there.
You can put both, you can put electrical one in there and electrical.
And there's actually a button on that panel there for turning on the electrical fuel pump. New fuel sending unit. And I hate drips, so I don't know if there's a better kind of gasket to use. And whatever is in there now, if you let it sit very long, it seems like it dries up. The power steering pump is seeping a little bit. There's probably some O-rings or something. So whether you replace the whole thing or whatever you do. And then
Usually that kind of stuff is cheaper to just replace.
Yeah, for sure. So my priorities are going to be the quality, functionality. The cost is a lower tiered thing,
Right.
because for me, just the effort of bringing it in is a big, major pain.
Sure.
And especially if we do the cool stuff on the engine, I
Thank
don't
you for
want it to
everything.
be greasy or
Yeah. And so the batteries are here.
not normally. But here's what I normally do. Jack in. I usually just set a battery. So I don't remember where the battery tray used to be, but it'd be great. What I usually do is just set a battery here, and then I have the cables that I have these welding plugs that go here and here that just provide the electrical power. So that's how I do it now. There's some stupid stuff in here that, like, I think this is a exposed 12 volt distribution block.
So it's live.
Yeah, I think so.
What is this part of?
And now on the, I don't know if you mess around with the exhaust and stuff. So I love the sound of it right now, but probably the exhaust system needs to be completely replaced. I drilled a hole in the exhaust manifold so I could put the exhaust gas hole in there, but I don't use it. And I can't remember if I put a bolt in there or what. I don't care if you weld that back up because I don't want any exhaust leaks, you know?
Sure.
And then you guys pretty much can go to town. This needs to be replaced. I've had it cleaned before. I mean, if you think it's, this is,
It could be replaced.
on things that are critical, like this. I'm all about that. I know there are people that are better at that, but I'm not one of those people.
No, I don't. I wouldn't assume so. So is there batteries? I'm sure there are batteries in this, right?
Not right now. No batteries. So normally, there's a battery box that it had like 6 inside the ring. But they're no longer. I removed those batteries, so now there are no batteries in here. You know, I can go get a battery, and I found one of the cables. I don't know why I don't have the other, but I just attach it to a battery and plug it in right here, and then there's your battery. But this battery doesn't have enough capacity to provide the power I need for this sound system.
Right.
And in fact,
But it'll start the engine? Or
oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's just a normal battery. So normally I'm probably going to put in like lithium batteries for competition, and I thought that I had a battery in here, but it wasn't. So I must have not done it.
No problem.
But what is your timeline before you start getting ready to push the button?
Oh, I mean, I don't
So
know.
that I can
see. Well, the problem is that normally what I would do is I put this car under that awning, and until I got it started, then pull it up in here. But since you guys can't have it outside, I need to try and get it started immediately because it blocks everything in there.
Yeah.
So I need to try and get it started as soon as possible.
All right. Well, I'm going to start getting prepared to help you get it started. And bring the battery over and the cable and.
I would just need the cable. Well, if you have a good battery, that's great. Yeah.
Okay, well, I don't have a battery, so I'm not going to bring the battery. But I'll bring the cables. I got to find the documentation on, if I have to, on the keypad. I know I can get it. Sure. I know I can do it. I lived in this thing for so long. And I'll write together a startup procedure. It's basically keypad, ignition, start. And then to turn it off, deep unpress ignition, keypad to turn off the power.
Okay.
Just like in your car, probably just like in your car.
But it wouldn't matter about the power, right? Because there's no batteries in it, right? So
it's totally dead right now. I mean, there's no electrical power in this vehicle whatsoever.
So once you disable the battery, the power goes up.
And it's been sitting so long, I don't know if the keypad is lost. It's probably lost its program. It's probably defaulting to 1, 2, 3, 4. But I'm going to find. I have the documentation for that. Sure. I'll find it. And if there's anything that causes you trouble, or there's anything I can do to make it easier for you to start it up or work on it, just say, I wish it would do this, and I could probably make that happen.
No problem. No problem.
Just super excited.
It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be really cool.
And I know we're gonna get a lot of traction.
Sure.
So,
do you guys have the keys?
There's no keys.
Oh, that's right.
It's all a keypad.
But the fob to
Yeah, I have it at home. So that's why I'm going to come back with the other cable, some instructions, the little key fob, because I think you have to press this key, then this key, and then this key, and then the door pops open.
Okay.
But right now, nothing will happen.
Well, what I might do is that instead of me going, the tag going through me and then me going to you, I might give the tag your number directly. So if he has an issue.
Perfect. And then, I don't know what's happened to the latch, but that'll have to, it's never going to stay shut until that works.
Right.
Those door panels, I think, I think those things unscrewed. I remember there's some screws on it.
It's a 60, right?
Yes.
We got a 60.
I saw it.
Good to go over there.
Yeah, I saw it. So, you can tell the difference between the 60 and the 59 because the 59s have the lights in the wing and the fins. Mm-hmm. So when I found this car, it was sitting in a field outside of Dallas, and I stopped and I talked to the owner, the farm owner, and he sold it to me for $850. But it was sunk down. It was sitting on the dirt because the tires had sunk down into the ground. And then I aired it up, worked on it for 2-3 days, and drove it home. And within a few hours of getting home, I had all the tires blew out. So those were the days.
Yeah, we'll get it started. We'll see what we can do.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. Well, what else do you need from me?
That's it. Just those keys and those battery cables as soon as I can.
I'll get right on that.
Sure.
So I'll try to come by tomorrow maybe.
Sure. That'd be great.
I'll be over here in the morning.
Okay. We'll be here. It's great meeting you.
Good meeting you.
Yeah, we're excited about it. Don't worry, she's in safe hands.
No, that's why I chose you guys. So
the way it works is that we bill